Welcome back to Earth Station Trek, a show where we trek from the early days on NBC to the future on Paramount Plus and everywhere in between. I'm Charles Kelso, and it's my privilege to introduce the Earth Station Trek crew: Keith Johnson.
I am Roger Corby.
And Veronica Nashel.
Sorry,
Hi.
wrong series.
Wrong series, but right character. Yeah, welcome back, everybody. Tonight we're talking about the season 3, episode 5, Star Trek: Strange New Worlds episode, Through the Lens of Time. But first, I've got a little bit of Star Trek news.
Cool.
So the news came out via Variety today that Skydance closed the $8 billion Paramount acquisition. Today marks day one of a new Paramount, David Ellison says. And then just a little bit from the article, David Ellison's Skydance Media closed its $8 billion merger with Paramount Global to create a new company, Paramount, a Skydance corporation. The parties announced Thursday. Under Skydance, Paramount will be restructured into 3 divisions: studios, direct-to-consumer, and TV media. And then Ellison quoted, "Today marks a new day, marks day one of a new Paramount. I'm thrilled and honored to write to you as chairman and CEO as, together with our board, our new executive leadership team, and our colleagues around the world, we embark on the exciting next chapter of this legendary company." And so forth. There's a lot more information here. For both Variety and Deadline, we're covering it today. They did also announce there's going to be a new Paramount TV. Now, Star Trek is still being produced by CBS Television. Okay. So they're sort of getting all the Taylor Sheridan shows and other things that Skydance was doing, sort of getting everything under one umbrella. But then they're also going to have, I guess, some stuff still being produced by CBS TV for a while. Let's hope. What do we think?
I don't like that there wasn't much mention of Star Trek in this entire thing.
Right. And now I didn't read the whole article, but
I haven't read any of the article.
Yeah, David Ellison wasn't like, finally, I own Star Trek, and it will be the biggest franchise in the world.
Yeah, that's what I don't like.
I'm a bit trepidatious because outside of anything else, what Veronica just said, we don't know what Star Trek's importance will be, because for some people it'll come down to a pure and simple business model. We talked many times over the years how Leslie Moonves, however you pronounce his name, he absolutely was opposed to Star Trek coming back. Of course, he was wrong. So I'm hoping that Ellison and company have more sense. And one thing that does concern me is a couple of weeks ago, as part of what I guess they felt to grease the rails to make this go, is one of their super high-ranking guys very publicly stated that they were getting rid of what they call DEI in the new corporation, and that there would be no consideration for all the things we're talking about: gender, race, ethnicity, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that stays in the boardroom. I don't know, but I do become concerned how that may reflect on what they decide to support and, Star Trek and other shows. I don't know. Maybe those things can be separate.
Yeah. Maybe. And I mean, I think it's worth pointing out too that, I mean, through this, that South Park episode about Trump did come out. Yes. Watch that. And I don't think Star Trek's going to do anything quite as outrageous as that.
No.
So, I mean, hopefully they're just minding their P's and Q's and trying to get this deal done under the current administration. But let's hope that we're not going to have a return to like 2001 Star Trek over it. We had a comment here from Matt Sweatman that says, Paramount Skydance has not been a good thing outside of programming so far. I'm a little nervous about programming decisions they'll make.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still early. I mean, Skydance was a production partner on the J.J. Abrams movies, so they've got at least some kind of skin in the game with Star Trek in the past and a working relationship with Kurtzman. So I guess, I mean, as of right now, there's a lot of balls in the air. We don't know what's going to happen. Now, I did hear on the Trek movie has reported that as of next year, Alex Kurtzman's initial contract is up. So whether they'll take that as an opportunity to take it in a new direction, irregardless of how successful or not successful they think he's been, that might be an opportunity for them to do a clean slate. But I mean, there's enough Star Trek in production right now to take us through like 2027 anyway. Right. So I guess we'll find out what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Keith, did you have some This Week in Trek this week?
I do. Just had a couple of things here real quick. Okay, I found this very the 1968. Well, this all go back to the classic stuff, and I found this very interesting. Yeah, right. 1968 was the first day of filming on the Tholian Web, one of my favorite episodes of the original series.
Mhm.
And I was just thinking, we've seen the Tholians a little bit, right? We've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
them. Yeah, we've seen them. And it's so funny if you look at how they've been portrayed now versus back then. They had this really weird video effect for the Tholians. It was just this kind of strange cartoon looking effect with some stuff that looked like it was heat in the background. And I remember as a kid watching it, I had no clue what the Tholians were supposed to be. It was only years later I read that they were arachnid type creatures. And I think don't they live in super hot environment compared to what humans like?
Yeah, I think they established that on Enterprise.
Yeah.
In the Mirror Universe, and there was that. They turned him into sort of a crystalline spider.
Yeah.
I guess playing off of the web thing. And I mean, there was also a joke on DS9 about Tholian silk. But
Yes.
yeah, I'm a little surprised that none of the new shows have touched the Tholians, because that seems like a prime species to bring back. I kind of liked the whole, like, when you saw a Tholian, it was like, I still don't know what that is. Like,
Yes.
what is this creature?
Right. And I'm not going to go down that route, but you just said, Charles, I actually agree with. There's a race that I wouldn't mind seeing explored a little more.
Sure.
So
they're very different.
so semi-related, as you were
Mhm.
saying that about how they were spiders and they live in the heat. The Project Hail Mary that has a movie coming out that is a amazing book. That's the alien in it, basically.
Oh,
It's
good.
it's a spider type creature that lives in extreme heat. I don't know if it's going to live in extreme heat in the movie,
Okay.
Interesting.
but that's how it was in the book. So that's interesting. I'm betting that's where they got the idea from, at least.
Might be, but also that's encouraging for bringing the Tholians back, because the new Star Treks like to knock off movies.
Then 31 years later, the final draft was delivered for an episode which is simultaneously one of the best and one of the most frustrating of Voyager. And that was the two-parter Year of Hell.
Mm.
And for those who know the show, know that episode is literally symptomatic of both the best and the worst of Voyager, as in it's really, really good. And spoilers, and then at the end they just literally undo everything that just happened.
Yeah,
And
the infamous Voyager reset button.
Yeah, and it drives people crazy.
Right.
I mean, I was just listening to a review from another group about this recently, and the guy was like, "This is why I hate Voyager." He's like, "This is why I stopped watching Voyager. This show pissed me off so much."
It would be interesting for someone to calculate how much of Voyager never happened.
Right. Then the 6th of August, this one has personal meaning for me. 1991 was the first day of filming on a little TNG episode called Ensign Ro.
Okay, that's a great one.
Awesome.
Yeah. One of the best characters I think that's been introduced in Star Trek in the last several years. I mean, Michelle Forbes literally stalked onto the screen. She was such an awesome character. Of course, now you do the whole thing, as everybody knows, Michelle Forbes was offered the role that ultimately became Kira Nerys on DS9, but she didn't want to get tied down to one show. Nana Visitor did a phenomenal job. So I think you had two good choices there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love Ensign Ro, but I would not have traded Kira Nerys for her.
No, same here. Yeah, me either. Okay, let's see. There's one more of the premiere, second con. 6th of August, 2020, 5 years ago. Can you guys believe it's been that long? The premiere of Lower Decks, Second Contact.
Wow.
5 years ago. Just like that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird now. We've been doing the show long enough that
We've outlived an Star Trek series.
yeah, the new shows are now in This Week in Star Trek History.
Yeah. Okay, 7th of August, 1978. This is another one that divides people, but it is so critical to Star Trek. And that was the first day of filming of Star Trek, the motion picture, 1978.
Nice.
There's a lot of people who kind of hate that movie.
Yeah.
I see a lot of fans, especially older fans, who kind of hold on to the original series. They say it's the truest Star Trek film ever done.
Okay.
But no matter what one thinks about it, it's what brought Star Trek back to the theater. And of course, that led to Wrath of Khan, and it gave them the impetus to bring Star Trek back in a lot of ways. So important.
I love the motion picture for all, despite its flaws. There was a
Yeah.
complicated production history on that movie. But I will say, I don't think it's the purest Star Trek ever made, but I do think it's the purest sci-fi Star Trek has been on television, or one of the pure sci-fi. But I do
Agreed.
think it was missing Star Trek's action adventure component.
Yeah, I agree. And the last one I got, this was wild to me. The 9th of August, 1966. Get this, the 9th and final day of filming on an episode of Star Trek. 9 days
Wow.
of
Back
filming.
then, that's forever.
That's a long time. I checked, most of the episodes went 6 or 7 days.
Right.
And as Charles, I know you know, Ralph Sineski was famously fired from the Tholian Web because he was going over too long. But they gave this episode 9 days. And why am I bringing this up? The episode was what I yelled at the beginning of the show. I am Roger Corby. It was What Are Little Girls Made Of? The show that introduced Roger Corby to the
That's
Star Trek
right.
universe.
Yeah, and I really like that episode.
Me
It shows
too.
its age, but and it has a lot in common, I think, with the episode that we're going to talk about tonight.
Absolutely.
Let's grab a couple of comments real quick.
Cool.
Tiger Blade 2002 said, "Hi guys, just got here," and
So,
then
Wayne?
said, "Gotta go. I'm installing my new computer." So thank you, Wayne, for dropping
Bye,
by.
Wayne.
Elaine Sweatman says, "So I do not watch Voyager if it never happened."
I'll watch it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
it's a
can sit
good
through
show.
Enterprise, you can sit through Voyager.
I would space it out between Deep Space Nine, like watch him go hurt.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a good show.
Matt Sweatman says Trek is a better place having both Kira Nerys and Ensign Ro in it.
100%.
I agree,
And
man.
then went on to say the motion picture fits alongside other 70s sci-fi science fiction films, and its sequels were better 80s sci-fi films. True.
That's a good
Yeah.
point. That's
Yeah.
a good point. Yeah.
All right. Well, spoiler alert for Strange New Worlds through the lens of time. This is not a drill. Thunderbirds are go. Psalm 118. Thanks be to the Lord. We got an episode with a strange new world in it. It's got new life, new civilizations. I've been waiting for this for like 3 years.
I've got
It's finally
guys,
happened, everybody.
I've got Charles's name written in my notes like 5 times because I was like, Charles is probably liking this because I was liking this too.
They went to a strange new world. There was
Yes.
a new civilization there. There was a new life form.
Yes.
Even though
Yes.
it's technically an old life form, but
New to us.
new to us. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
It's like when you got a new car when you were 16. It's new to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got a strange new world.
Yes.
Woo. All right, podcast over. What do we think?
It was very good, although I sad the entire reason they brought on the new ensign was to kill him off in this episode.
Okay, what did you think of that, Keith?
I completely agree because when he was first introduced, the episode where he was just introduced, I said, I like this character. I hope he can stay around. And boy, oh boy, was I disappointed. We can get into the details. I thought a couple of minor Spock in Love references aside, it was a really good episode. Yeah, I like you. It was nice not to have something call back, not to know what was going to happen, just have a good time. And I could even kind of ignore the stuff with Corby and Christine and Spock mostly. So yeah, I thought it was a good episode. I sure as heck didn't know what was going because I didn't even look at I don't look at trailers or anything. I didn't even know the name of the episode till I turned it on at 6 o'clock today. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun with this one. This is the kind of episode I've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't hate other kinds of episodes, but for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, I had expected more Strange New Worlds.
Right.
To be in it, you know? Like if I bought a bag of Fritos, I would expect there to be Fritos inside. You know? So
Not cheese balls?
not in a Fritos bag. But no, I enjoyed it. Yeah, I guess I wasn't surprised when Ensign Adorable died, but it's kind of Star Trekky though. The way like he turned up a couple episodes and it's like, golly guys, I'm sure I'm happy to be here on my first away mission too. And, and then a non-corporeal being burrows into his brain and takes over his soul.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
But well, you know, and that is in the tradition of the original series. Every time a new person was introduced in the original series, they often died. Yeah, from the scientist to security.
Yeah.
So
and they avoided the red shirt trope. He wasn't wearing a red shirt. He's a nurse.
Yeah.
But it is very Star Trek. They're like, golly, we sure do love this new ensign. Come on down to the planet with this new ensign. This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, that was wild.
I did think too this week that Spock was much Spockier than he's been.
He was not like lovey-dovey Spock.
No. And they didn't ignore the lovey-dovey stuff that has gone on. Obviously, the the situations he finds himself in were in play on the surface of the planet, but he was very Spock and into the science, and I appreciated that. I
Same here.
like
Yeah, he didn't let the loveness derail what he
right. No,
needed to do.
no smooching, no, doe eyes at anybody. Just, but he did. But they were sort of dealing with the fallout of some of the relationship stuff that's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I rolled my eyes at those couple of things, but they were minor enough where I could, like the whole thing where he jumped slightly ahead when he was talking to Christine to trust his decision to walk over the invisible bridge, blah, blah, blah. And he says a thing like, I know you've lost confidence in me. Like, dude, I don't need to hear that. Just tell her this is a science decision. So that slightly irritated me. And La'an made a little comment about trust goes two ways. Like, guys, please leave your soap opera out of here. You're in a cave where you're going to die, but all these dead bodies around you. But it was fine. It didn't, like you said, it didn't hold on enough that it irritated me truly.
Yeah, and it didn't even bother me much that everyone's giving Spock crap about being in command of the mission, because Galileo 7 was the same way. Like that's not unusual, especially for young Spock. Yeah, but there was a bit of like, you're Starfleet officers and he's the senior officer on this mission. Like, you need to be listening to what Spock says and quit arguing so much.
Right. Does Spock outrank La'an?
Are they both lieutenants?
They are, I think. Yeah. I couldn't tell because at one point it almost seemed like she was taking over. Then at one point it seemed like he was taking
That's
over.
True, because like in the first episode, she was the stand-in for the first officer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But neither of them are command officers. So I don't know. I mean, they did seem like they were deferring to Spock, or at least.
So it seems like that when it comes to science, they would defer to Spock, and when it came to security, they would defer to La'an.
It's a flat command structure.
Yeah.
we all have our own opinions.
Yeah. I thought the alien looked cool.
Yeah. The McCune.
Yeah, I didn't write it down.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a cool alien. He had an interesting voice as well. Then they played it, something that came up several times in the original series, which was this ancient species, not this ancient species, but an ancient species. In this case, they traveled galaxies. There were some hints that they were on Earth at some point. They mentioned that sort of the ancient aliens kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
And we'll get to this, but Pelia seems to be sort of familiar with some of the stuff, and they even commented that some ancient Earth cultures and practices may have been inspired by technology from space. But I like I like the whole thing with the shooting the deflectors and blasting open the mountain and open up where the pyramid's at, or not pyramid, but the temple, which kind of reminded me of that ziggurat from Star Trek Prodigy.
Yeah,
having kind of an Indiana Jonesy adventure. By the end, a very Indiana Jonesy adventure.
Yes.
But no, I dug it.
Yeah, I put in my notes the shot of the Enterprise up in the sky was incredibly cool. Although they were awfully low, because that means they were in the atmosphere, but it was still a great looking shot.
Yeah, and I always have to complain when the Enterprise is in the atmosphere, or any starship is in the atmosphere, and it's not a red alert situation.
Yeah,
but yes, you can look up and see the Enterprise.
Yeah, you shouldn't need to in that case.
Right. But you're right though. But you know what? Maybe they're because of the deflector thingamabobby they were doing, they had to navigate closer.
Yeah. I think so. And they're probably, they love riffing on the stuff when they can. They're probably riffing on the original movie with Pike when the ship had to transfer power down to the giant laser beam for the Telosians.
It did feel kind of like that. And they even have sort of similar landing party jackets. And I enjoyed that they said landing party several times. They also said away mission and away team, but landing party got in there several times.
Yeah,
and what original series.
Right.
All right, I'm going to grab a few comments real quick
before
we get too far behind on them. Elaine says, I loved and hated this episode at the same time.
Oh, do tell, Elaine.
Yeah, there's two Elaines in different universes. Loving and hating this episode.
We got to hear why.
Matt says, we're only getting cold, emotionless Spock when Christine's around. She brought that on herself.
Yes.
Matt says, with so many characters that have to survive into the TOS era, it's nice that they've made the unique characters' fates feel very much in question. Matt goes on to say, it's like an Enterprise where the main command structure is a little bit in question.
Yeah, trip to Paul.
And Bill Lamont has joined us and said, I'm sorry I'm late. Did you get my email today? I didn't, but I haven't checked the email today. And then Elaine says, I hated that Gamble had to die.
I see. Agreed. Well, you know, Elaine, when Mbenga strangely calmly said, basically, your brain is dead, I kind of figured that might be where it was going to go. Mbenga did not freak out like I expected. We can talk about that a little later.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's get into Mbenga a little bit because I kind of liked when this, what do they call the Vesda? Something like that. This malevolent being. I like when he kind of started giving him crap about feeding his daughter that space brain I've been complaining about since season 1.
That was great.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm on that thing's side. That was the same
really
thing
cool.
we watched that episode.
Yeah, we remember that. We talked about that. You're right, the same thing. And then he was saying something about the tears and this and that. And then he was looking at
Drinking their tears.
Right.
Yes.
You don't just give your kid to a spaceborne life form.
Yeah. Has he ever gone back to check on her?
Right. So do you think it was just saying that to get under its skin, or do you think it knows something? Me and that Vesda were right.
I think it was probably just messing with him.
Okay.
But obviously he's telepathic and seriously so.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was a little surprised that thing never revealed itself to be something we've seen before. Like, and sometimes they called them the Organians.
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they love that kind of crap. But it did strike me that like this is sort of the area they showed it on the map where it's sort of between the Federation and Gorn space, right? And I mean that's sort of the area they were traveling through in Arena. And in the Arena, they ran across the space of the Metrons, which were also an ancient advanced life form.
Right.
And then there were sort of hints in this one that there's some connection or something between these. I'm going to keep saying Vesdra unless anybody corrects me. I'll probably say it different every time because I'm making it up. The Vesdra or whatever and the Gorn. Right. So I wonder if they're going to tie the Metrons into it somehow or just sort, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some weird fan theory going on, or some real stuff I've heard speculation about who these people could be. And some people are saying they think they're trying to say it's the homeland of the Q, the homeworld of the Q.
Yeah, because Trelane threw in that line back in the wedding episode.
Yeah.
Where he said, like, oh, I saw him, digging around on the old homeworld.
Right.
And they threw out several planet names. I had that similar thought that are they going to because the Q are also an ancient non-corporeal species. Are they going to tie that in somehow now that Trelane's in the mix?
Yeah, well, back to me and not needing stuff connected. I don't really need to see a homeworld for the Q. I mean, they're so old. It almost doesn't make sense that you'd be able to find it and find anything left on it. Yeah. So I would just rather it not be them, but it's fine.
I like the old fan theory that the Q are advanced humans from the future after we become non-corporeal.
Timey-wimey.
Right. Okay. Let's grab some comments. We're joined by Anton Smith. Welcome,
hey, Anton.
That says, did Gamble get the Arium treatment?
No, I feel like I had more invested in Gamble than Arium. He was actually in episodes.
He was a more well-developed character with more lines, I would say.
Even though he's in fewer episodes.
Yes.
Isn't that funny?
And Arium didn't get lines really until like her last episode. And then she had like a Spock level funeral where everyone was so sad that Arium was dead. So no, I would say I think I like the way Gamble was handled better than I like the way Arium was handled. Although I do like Arium.
Yeah. Same here.
I wish he was handled better, but
yeah. Matt Sweatman says Gamble was just saying what all the fans have been thinking since season 1. That's right. And I'm surprised that Vesdra thing didn't say, and the Gorn shouldn't even be in contact with the Federation yet. And what's Kirk doing here?
Yeah.
Elaine Sweatman says some of the scenes where Gamble was not Gamble reminded me of some Doctor Who episodes, kind of scary and unknown.
I can see that.
Yeah, I like the ancient cosmic creature that knows more than we know, and that sort of cosmic horror, bring some cosmic horror into it.
Right.
I think Star Trek supports that very well, I think. Yeah, I like the way Gamble was handled. I don't mind that he died. Because I thought the way he was introduced was a little bit obnoxious. He was this like super adorable ensign, like, and they're all like, "Wow, don't we all love this ensign?" Oh, I love you guys too. And so I don't know. I don't know. I kind of like that 2 episodes later, he's like possessed by an alien cosmic creature.
Well, it's the thing that they claimed they were going to do when they created the Abrams first movies, which is you never know who's safe. So I agree with you. And that the original series. It's a meme, but the original series was very good at showing that it was not safe out there.
Oh yeah. So
that's what happened to him. I remember as soon as, and again, the other thing is it it didn't feel contrived because it kind of makes sense. Because I'm sitting there going, dude, I'm in this cave on this planet where they're all weirded out, and some crap starts glowing. I'm not picking it up. As a matter of fact,
Yeah, but
somebody should have said, "Don't touch anything."
But
Honestly,
if you're a precocious infant on your first landing party, you're
Exactly.
definitely touching that glowing thing.
absolutely. And the whole time I'm like, "Put it down, put it down," and then he just puts it up to his face. I'm like, "Oh boy."
Right.
I didn't expect that to happen though. I thought maybe something would come out like TNG, where I thought like an energy being would get him. I sure as heck when they blew his face up, I was like, "Whoa!" I didn't see that coming.
Oh yeah. And it was
Wow.
kind of horrific looking. The hollow eye sockets with the blood
Yes,
coming down. That was
yeah.
cool.
And I guess it's because it's the future. But I wrote down they didn't have the strongest reaction to his eyes being blown out. Later on, they're like, "How's he doing?" "Oh, he's fine. He's in sick bay. His eyes already growing back." Now, in our times, we'd be like, "Oh my God, is he okay?" He'll be fine. He'll be
Oh,
back.
yeah. True. Yeah, but I like that the expectation was sort of that Mbenga could just grow his eyes back, and they're like, well, I guess that Mbenga's gonna have to shine a light over his eyes. It'll be better this afternoon. But I like that they tried that. It didn't work.
Yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I backing up just a little bit. I like that they beamed down into a quarry
Mhm.
instead of something super weird and exotic looking. I like that it
Yeah.
was just like a quarry in Canada. That's
Mhm.
very Star Trek-y. What do we think of the space temple once they got into the space temple?
That was pretty cool inside.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they did a great effect with that. Also, like you said, it did feel more like Star Trek I'm used to, because they had little conversations of, should we go or should we stay?
Mhm.
And at one point, Spock was basically saying, "Look, we just discovered something that's dangerous. We should go back and call the captain and get more people down here." And oh, come on, Spock, what could go wrong? There's a whole bunch of us here.
Right.
And I thought, well, he was actually right.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I like the whole space temple thing.
Mhm.
It's very,
Okay.
I mean, obviously filmed on the volume.
Yeah.
And sort of it's a setup that we're very familiar with at this point, that they spend a lot of time on new Star Trek on a supported platform
Mhm.
in a big expanse with really elaborate things in the distance.
Right.
There's a lot of scenes in Star Trek now where you could go through and just watch all the different scenes where they're in environments that take place on a little platform with an expanse, because it's easier for them. You don't have to worry about the seam between the volume and the set,
Right.
But I thought it was cool though. I did like it, and I like the whole setup, because it's very Roger Corby. Like he does archaeological medicine. It's kind of similar to what he was doing in What Are Little Girls Made Of.
Right.
That and it makes sense for Star Trek that you'd have people who are like archaeologists, but looking specifically for more advanced technology from these ancient civilizations that have come and gone.
Mhm. Absolutely.
One of the things that I really liked was Ortegas' brother, him freaking out kind of like
Yeah.
Uhura did in her first away mission. And then she was like, "Hey, I know what you're feeling. I've been where you are. This is what we need to do."
Mhm.
And she was able to calm him down. I like that little callback to her first away mission.
Let's grab a couple of comments before we go to break. Matt Sweatman says, "I think a young officer on their first away mission dying sounds like a Lower Decks joke."
Yes.
True. Elaine says, "Quarries are very Doctor Who too."
Indeed.
Yeah.
Elaine also says, "It was very cool the way the temple was revealed."
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed. Anton Smith says, "The death of Icheb came to mind when I saw the missing detached eyes."
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And Matt Sweatman says, "The episode had Tomb of the Cyberman vibe." Yeah, I like it. I like ancient cosmic stuff in Star Trek. I thought this was very well done.
Mhm.
Same here.
All right, somebody say something while I find an ad.
So I really enjoyed how the camera that he had in there was what brought them back together. They realized that they were actually still in the same space because the camera was picking up on their I don't remember the words, but basically that they were bodies there and they were all there, just phased differently.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
I thought
Good
that was
point.
pretty good too.
Yeah, and we'll get into that right after this.
Okay.
what were you? Oh no, Keith's gone.
Sure, I am.
Teleported away.
Glad
If you
you
look with
guys
black
didn't
eyes,
hear
it would have been amazing.
I just had something fall back here.
Oh,
Okay, I'm back.
all right, Veronica. What were you saying? I wasn't listening.
So about the camera that Ortega's brother had,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
he kind of hinted that it was like it could detect things that people couldn't see naturally,
Mhm.
and then that came in handy when they were actually in the tomb.
When they saw that they were all in the same room, and Uhura was like, "What the hey?" Yeah.
She was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I see the other people. Oh wait, now I see us too. We're all here."
And I agree with what Veronica said about, because in our real world we have this too. And we have reporters. I was listening to an interview on NPR yesterday with a reporter, and my gosh, the guy's been going through war zones for like 30 years. But her brother, like she said, he didn't plan for this. He thought he was just going this interesting,
Mhm.
somewhat little interesting architectural dig. So he knows nothing about, and he's not his sister. He's not in the military. He
Right.
knows nothing about life and death. So yeah, I like the way he was kind of freaking out. Kind of reminds me of oh God, what's the guy's name? Bailey in the original series, Corbomite Maneuver.
Yeah.
When he was looking around, I was like, "You guys are so calm. We're about to die." And he starts freaking out. So
He's starting a countdown.
that's it. That's the guy. Yeah. What are you, robots? Yeah. So,
Wind up, toy soldiers. Quote Bailey the rest of the episode.
so I thought that was cool how she did just kind of calm him down.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was good. And I liked his presence here. This episode sort of brought together all the story arcs that have been going on, the character
Mhm.
arcs that have been happening.
Right.
And not in a way that I thought was detrimental to the episode. Because at first I was feeling like this is a little packed with all the story arcs from the season
Me
so
too.
far. But I
too.
thought they all played off very well. And in fact, I mean, having what's his face and his drone around seemed pretty helpful.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
maybe they should have a drone more often on
Indeed.
landing party. If they went on landing party missions, they should take a drone with them.
Actually,
They
that's
never
true.
go on them, so we don't know.
Yeah, because in real life at that time, they would, because they'd send a drone down. They would send a drone through something first,
Sure.
not a human. You wouldn't walk in. I also thought it was interesting because so many things that you could say were contrived, but there are tropes in everything. Like Christine walking up and letting what was basically to me a rusty nail pierce her hand. It's like, seriously? And I like that Gamble immediately ran up, which was, they didn't have to write it, but he ran up and said, "No signs of infection," because you have no idea what could have been on that thing.
It's been there for a long time.
Yeah. Right.
And I like how he Corby was about to go cut his hand.
Yeah.
She was like, whoa, slow down. I'm gonna let that thing stab me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That could have taken her over for all you know.
No
Yeah.
kidding. Or it could have chopped her hand off. We're not that sure about this technology. All we know is it wants a blood sacrifice. I'm gonna go stick
Yeah.
my hand in it. Find
Right.
out how much it wants.
I also thought was interesting with the guy, I forget his name, the native who was with them.
Uh-huh.
He was so cool and so almost regal.
Mhm.
And then he's like, "I gotta get out of here."
He's like, F this, I'm out.
And then he turns around and runs out and gets
Yeah.
vaporized.
And a very cool species.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
his name was not Magel, but it was something similar to Magel because I kept thinking, did they say Magel? You
Yeah, I
know?
know. That's what I was just thinking too.
But it was cool, and then I guess they're descended from this ancient species that built the temple and were across intergalactic civilization traveling the galaxies, and had some history with this Verda, something.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Yeah.
grab a couple of comments. Elaine says Pelia wanting to reshoot scenes for the documentary was perfect.
Yes.
I thought
Except at the
Pelia
end.
was very well used in this episode.
Yes, she
Mhm.
was fantastic.
Very funny. And I was just saying a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the Starfleet Academy promo that they never used the fact that she's Lanthanite. We've had like
Right.
once where it came up, and here this is great because the implication here is that the Lanthanites had some kind of history with these ancient beings,
Mhm.
because at least she knew enough that this thing is going to be evil and it's going to be a problem. Kind of like when Guinan would get freaked out when the Q or the Borg or something. showed up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like I've got a greater history with this, so I thought that was very well done. And they balanced it very well with her being sort of spooky and ominous about it and foreboding, and then turning around and being funny.
Yeah.
That line, like, "Do you want one for the camera?" at the end, that was hilarious.
Yeah, like I wasn't 100% certain how like over the top she was being for the camera and how much of that was like actual like
Right.
this is bad. I think Pike wasn't either. I think he was like, "Oh, she's just pulling her leg and being dramatic for the camera."
Yeah, her freak out caught me off guard. I mean, and then I thought was very interesting is how they kind of turned it on its head because Pike did that kind of Star Trek thing, which is basically good and evil are relative. She's like, bollocks, there's evil in the universe, straight up evil.
Yeah.
He's like, okay.
Yeah, and it made sense because it was well seated. Because the first time when they mentioned, they were talking about the sort of technology and stuff they're looking for, and that some people think that the ancient civilizations, like their myths, may have been based on this kind of technology. But then, like, I hadn't even thought about the fact that Peli was there.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, she like her people were on Earth during that time, presumably.
Right.
So I thought that was well done. Elaine says the camera was using AI in an acceptable way.
Indeed.
Yep. Anton Smith says Pelia introduced us to Gamble.
Did she?
Michael Phillips says the reveal of the complex reminded me simultaneously of Doctor Who's Tomb of the Cybermen when the Cyber Tomb is revealed, and of Indiana Jones and the Petra in Jordan. Yeah, in more ways than one. We'll get back to that. And then he also says that line by Peli at the end was my favorite moment in the whole episode. Agreed. Yeah, they went very Indiana Jones by the end with the penitent man shall pass thing stepping out onto the invisible bridge.
Right.
Was very Last Crusade, but I'll allow it. Like I don't mind.
Here.
By that time, I was with him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
do Indiana Jones for a minute on your way out the door. Let's talk a little about Battelle. Because this whole situation was making Battelle a little gorny this week.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Her fight scene was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was that all about? She sensed it, and then he sensed her, and then they went at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of out of left field, but I mean, I guess the implication is because when Spock looked into the thing, to me, it looked like a Gorn face that he saw.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. There's some kind of connection between these beings and the Gorn, either like a relationship or, I mean, it could be a rivalry and animosity. Like, who knows? You know what I mean? They could be from the same planet. I mean, like, we don't know. But I guess this is going to tie into the Gorn storyline as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
That was a
So
very measured response, Keith.
right.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I know, Gorn.
Maybe they'll realize these aren't actually the Gorn.
Oh, I see. They're
Ah.
imposters.
Yeah.
They're
So-
going to pull off their mask and be Tholians underneath.
So when Battelle first came in and said she had a headache or something like that, was that simply reacting to him, or are we also to take it that her body is still compromised?
I don't know. I mean, she's been going through whatever she's been going through, like
Mhm.
medically. So I imagine
Yeah.
that's not resolved. My first thought is like, why are you on the Enterprise still?
Yeah.
There's not a
Yeah.
star base or a medical facility that could be taking care of this for you. Why are you riding around?
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and
I
you
thought the
think that Starfleet wouldn't give her a choice? Like, oh,
Yeah.
you're becoming a Gorn hybrid. You're coming with us, you know?
Right.
Not
Yeah.
you guys keep an eye on her. We trust you.
Yeah, she should be in a secure medical facility.
Yeah, I mean,
Seriously.
assuming that Starfleet knows,
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
because
point.
they've been kind of off the books, doing stuff off the books this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, got a comment here from Elaine that says, I was very impressed with Gamble's ability to fight like he did with no eyes. Yeah, I think the implication was that thing doesn't need eyes to see,
Mhm.
right? Like it's got perceptions beyond our understanding. And then I think these evil aliens are the ancient enemies of the Gorn. I think, yeah, I think that's a good. I think that's a good guess there, because that's certainly I think it was the implication.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it. I'm wondering for one how's it going to play out, but also I mean, like I said before, I'm wondering if the ancient Metrons will have anything to do with it as well. And I like, and I wonder how these if these beings that had them locked up, other than the fact that there's a bunch of them in this prison facility, if these beings, this ancient civilization is going to tie in more as well. Also,
Probably.
you think so?
So to that point, then the guy who got killed, then they know. I guess they know the history of their people, right? They know they're descended from these creatures because he wasn't surprised to find evil ones there.
Yeah, I think that they knew something.
Yeah.
They knew, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't a surprise. Like he was, what do you mean we're descended from aliens?
Right.
But they very much wanted to find out the truth. So it didn't seem like they knew the truth. That was my takeaway from it.
Okay. Because it's
But it seems like he did recognize evil.
Yeah. I wonder if it's like the Bajorans. I know Elaine hasn't seen a lot of this. I wonder if it's like the Bajorans where they have the founders, not the founders, geez, the wormhole aliens, the prophets, and then the Pa Wraith, because he came off like just kind of pure evil, and all those creatures in those little globes. That was actually genuinely scary. I gotta say, it really was pretty good.
Now, if these things have anything to do with the freaking Pa Wraiths, I'm
Yeah, I'm out, right?
so
You're out.
annoyed. All right.
One thing is it's not a continuity criticism, but man, they sure use the transporter buffer way more now than anybody seems to in the future of their own history. And
Yeah.
every time they have a problem, they're like, put them in the buffer. And
Do you think that was a good idea?
Nope.
No, I don't think so. Because look, I work in IT. Stuff fails all the time, and if it fails, it's not like it's not like you turn it back on real quick, because it's probably gonna jump out by then.
Right.
So
Yeah.
But not only that, this is like a higher being that you're storing in the buffer of your entire ship. Why
right.
are you doing this? This is not a good idea.
and it's an energy
Right.
being of some kind.
Yeah.
Like
You're gonna put
you
an
don't know
energy
for
being
sure
in your
that
computer.
it can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It did have kind of the feel of like the Ghostbusters containment chamber, though. Of like the alarms are going to go off and this thing's going to come busting out. You know?
I think
When it's
so.
in the buffer, it's not inside its container though.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Here's a question for you from Michael Phillips. Speaking of eyes, did they always have the ability to regenerate eyes? If so, why did Geordi have to wear a visor all those years?
I thought about that, and I think the difference is Geordi was born without eyes, so he didn't have. So genetically, he didn't have the DNA to make eyes. He was born without eyes, and this guy had them, so they were just going to regenerate him.
Yeah, I think there was a comment at one point about regenerating Geordi's eyes, and he chose to stick with his visor.
Right.
But I think his situation wasn't just he had eyes that got removed.
Mhm.
There was more nerve damage, or they're a little bit vague, I think, about the exact nature of his disability there. But
Yeah, because he didn't. Geordi's the whole optical nerve path from his eyes to his brain didn't exist, which is why the visor was there. And that's what Pulaski had said. And that when she first came on, she could help. She could grow those for him. So for Geordi, it was growing something that was never there. For this guy, it was just like repairing. But still, it did seem like kind of a big leap. But you know what? This may surprise you. I will give Strange New Worlds a pass for that, because we already know that the original series was written in the 1960s. And stuff like that, you're probably gonna have by then. You're just probably gonna have that. So I'm okay with that. It happens.
yeah, I don't mind that. Although they didn't even mention growing Spock new eyes when he went blind in Operation Annihilate.
This is true. See, yep, all right.
They also mentioned Spock's brain in this episode.
I caught that.
They said that, I was like,
I wrote that down too.
Right.
Spock's brain, the biggest research. Oh no.
Right.
I just got to say this because it's funny. My God, this is not the Christine Chapel from the original series. It's just not.
No.
Forget attitude. She's a genetic engineering expert. She's an archaeological expert. She can fight. That's just not the same Christine. So it's really weird.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what have we not covered yet? Because there's a lot going on in this episode. What are we skipping over?
So we got Patel.
Yeah.
The stuff with Spock and his romances was fine. The little conversation between Chapel and La'an about Spock was interesting. That would almost fail. What's that test? You know the test. The test that they do in movies.
The Bechdel test.
Brechtel test. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, almost failed that. But honestly, I just don't care about the many loves of Spock. I mean, I just don't care. I just don't care.
Right.
And so, I have no. Honestly, I think I told you guys that before. I honestly thought Spock and La'an kissing was a holodeck thing, and this week I'm like, oh no, that really is serious. They're just chilling. They're hanging out.
Right.
It makes no sense. I hope they kill that as soon as possible.
Well, I've been kind of working on a theory that like Spock's gonna fall for La'an or something, and then like something bad's gonna happen. Either La'an dies or a tragedy happens because he was into, and that's why we get him like more controlled Spock in the future.
He's already calling Christine Nurse or whatever he called her, Chapel. So he's already doing that thing with her. So yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, good. I like Spocky Spock.
Me too.
Right.
Me too.
All right, so let's see. Michael Phillips says it's not the same Spock either. Spock in TOS wasn't a human female obsessed Vulcan.
I agree, Michael, and I agree with. I know what like what Charles was just outlining. I know what they're saying, Akiva and company. I just, and it's not because I don't want to buy it. I just don't logically buy this Spock getting to that Spock. It feels like they're really forcing that Spock into this Spock. But yeah, I don't know what else to do.
Now there were times
Mhm.
when Spock was a female obsessed Vulcan. I mean, you had like Layla Kalomi.
Yeah.
And he was obviously in love with her, and the spores allowed him to show that he was in love with her. You
Yeah.
had Droxine, is it Droxine on Cloud City?
The one where he met, and he's like, "Hey, let me tell you about my mating cycle."
Right. When she said, "I've never met a Vulcan before, sir," and he's like, "Nor I, a work of art, madam." And
Yeah.
Kirk looks at him.
Fuck that game. Yeah. And Kirk is looking over-
Zarabeth,
Yeah.
who Zarabeth is
Yeah.
Mariette Hartley is going to be in Atlanta this weekend at Monsterama, by the way, if anyone's
Oh,
going to
that's right.
Monsterama. Yeah.
Um,
So there were
Yeah.
times Spock had
Yeah.
tendencies, right?
you may know in the 60s, and this was Gene Roddenberry. You may know the original character sketch of Spock said that he had a specific power over women, and they dropped that. That was an original character
True.
sketch of him. And
Yeah, but the
But
original
he
character
ended up
sketch,
having a thing over women.
yeah,
It's not in
he,
the series.
but it was said that also given this episode was one of Gene Roddenberry's choices for the actual series premiere, the episode Whom Gods Destroy with Captain Tracy, when Spock stared at the one barbarian woman and just stared at her and caused her to pick
the
up
Omega Glory.
Thank you, Omega Glory. Thank you. I did the other one. I'm thinking of Lord Garth.
Lord Garth.
That's the one. They said the fact that he was able to look at and control the woman telepathically was a little bit of a tip to Gene Roddenberry originally wanting Spock to have specific power to mesmerize women. But even then, they're like, Gene, let's drop. Because, Gene was, let's just say, different. So
Yeah.
they
I
dropped
mean,
that.
in the original character sketch too, though, Spock was a red-skinned Martian with a power pack in his belly. So things change.
Oh, wow. I can see it now. Baby, you've been with a red-skinned man with a power pack.
Don't knock it till you tried it. All right. Elaine says we'll be at Monsterama.
Oh,
Yay.
Yay. No, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I like that Roger Corby was a little less sympathetic. He's still kind of a jerk, right?
Yeah.
He's still very
Yeah.
self-obsessed.
Yeah.
You still feel like this could be the Roger Corby who thinks it's a great idea to turn himself into an android in a few years. You know, because he has that sort of hubris and
Yeah.
self-determination where you can see him getting himself into trouble in the future. So I could see this Roger Corby getting there.
I got to piggyback on what you said, because what I wrote in my notes was faint, this is damning with faint praise. This was a much more nuanced written episode than I'm used to from them recently. I agree with you, because the little stuff that Corby did makes sense. Like when he said, I'm not Starfleet. Well, he's an archaeologist who likes to run around digging up stuff. And I can see him acting that way. They're military. He's not.
Yeah.
So it actually worked.
And we know that he's destined for a tragic end, right? He's gonna go one planet too far and get himself into trouble.
Absolutely.
But Andrea's there, so it's all worth it.
Oh boy, no kidding.
All right. So Matt Sweatman says, weren't there lyrics in Uhura's Charlie X song referring to Spock's ability to mesmerize women?
Charlie's our new Dolly.
Devil ears and devil eyes.
That's
Remember?
something your heart away or something.
Right.
Yeah. Interstellar astronaut. Wow, Matt. Good
All
call.
right. Matt Phillips says, not every Roddenberry idea was a good one.
Oh, that's for sure.
That's true.
Deanna Troy with 4 breasts, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, any other thoughts about this episode in particular?
I agree what you said at the start, Charles, and I feel like I have to keep doing this disclaimer. I do not go into any episode of Strange New World saying I'm going to hate it. I have my issues with the show, but I go into every show open, and I just let the show flow over me, and it was good and genuinely good. And I was surprised at the nuanced writing this time. And I try never to say this feels like the OS or something, even though it does, because it's its own thing. But I just genuinely enjoyed it. It was great not knowing where things were going to go. I didn't even know if they're going to kill Gamble or not.
Right.
I mean, I didn't know, so I had a good time.
Yeah, and I feel that way too. Like it didn't feel that original series to me,
Yeah.
but it felt like it existed in that world,
Mhm.
right? You
Right.
could see these sort of things happening on the original series, and it felt like a modernized version of that to me,
And
which I
also,
appreciate.
and also, I give them credit because they did the thing that I do like sometimes at the end when Mabinga, which you know what he's doing, he's calling Gamble's parents or his family.
Right.
Mhm.
And which is often a captain's job, but I like what he said. I asked to be the one to do. That
Yeah.
was nice bookend.
Yeah, I thought that was nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, he had a little bit, not necessarily, but a little bit of a paternalistic relationship with Gamble, right?
Yeah.
He's this young man that he's sort of taken under his wing and likes, and they did call back to his daughter, but we know that he went through that thing with his daughter in season 1, and
Right.
so you can sort of fill in the blanks yourself there how he must be feeling about this young man dying on his watch,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
This guy could have been a protege of his,
Yeah.
had he stuck around.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there was some poignancy to it, even though we didn't get a whole lot of Gamble on the show. But no, I thought it was very effectively done, and I mean, I felt for him when he died. No, I don't know, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
let's
I was gonna criticize Gamble for picking up the grenade, but
Right.
remember in the original series, the Naked Time, where the doofus took his glove off and was scratched his face, and
Right.
they caused all the problems.
Yeah, he took off his glove, touched something, put his hand up in an environmental suit, and like sniffing his fingers.
Right.
People
Yeah,
are stupid.
or Crewman Green. I mean, there's
Mhm.
a long line of
Yeah.
young, ensigns on their first away mission, or lieutenants, or whatever.
Right.
Causing trouble.
Yeah.
All right. Elaine Swetman says, adding to Corby trying to get himself in trouble, it was telling that Chapel had to tell him to leave the artifact when they were
Right.
leaving.
Right. Yeah, I
Matt
agree.
Swetman
Elaine.
says, I'm enjoying the episodes that aren't silly more than the silly ones this season so far.
Amen.
And I
Agree.
don't mind silly Star Trek. I don't mind
Mhm.
gimmick episodes. We did a whole episode about gimmick episodes that we liked just a few weeks
Mhm.
ago.
Mhm.
I like the silly ones. I like when a White Rabbit pops out, or Q shows up with a mariachi band, or everybody plays baseball. I like. I don't know. They seem like there used to be fewer. They used to happen less
Yeah.
frequently, and now we have fewer
Right.
episodes per season. I would like more episodes like this,
Keep the same balance.
with the occasional, goofiness that pops up.
Right.
Right.
Right. Same here.
Anton Smith says this episode is a return to form, better storytelling than other episodes this season.
Agreed.
And Elaine Swetman says, what about the screen glitching at the
yeah.
end when Mbenga turned around to talk to Gamble's parents?
Well, it's
That
like-
is the what would you call it?
Varza?
Varza? Verver.
We just watched this episode today, folks. The
It's the thing that is a light being.
the
that
Vashta
they,
Narada.
Yeah. Yeah, the Vashta Narada they transported into the buffer,
Yeah.
which is in the computer, and this is a light higher being of existence, and it was supposedly trapped in this thing. But guess what? The transporter buffer is not trapped in the little thing anymore. So
Right.
We trapped this energy being in our ship. I guess that's it for today, folks. Let's slide
Now-
on to the next mission.
I was thinking if this were lower decks, the creature would get out, and every time it took somebody over, their eyes would somehow get blasted out. It would just
True,
it
but if it was lower decks, Mariner would have put it in a headlock and shoved it into a jar.
yeah.
And that would have been the end.
and it would have been
After
sitting
she
there
made it
complaining.
like pop out a little tricorder for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe that thing was one of these things.
Yeah.
All right.
It is also as the comment just was. It's a true turn to Star Trek, because if you did a listing of all the evil energy entities in the Star Trek universe, we'd be here all day. So another addition to that.
Right. All right. Elaine says, I was just fixing to say the Vashta Narada. We're making the same Doctor Who joke.
I don't know that.
Michael Phillips says, I'm tired of the gimmick episodes personally. Maybe one per 12 episodes.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what ratio is just they also led this season, and they often lead the marketing with the gimmick episodes.
Yeah.
This episode put me more in mind of that Comet episode in season 1, which to date is my favorite Strange New Worlds episode.
Mhm.
I like when there's something strange and new on a world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Star Trek Strange New Worlds. But also they've also this season been leaning more and more into, hey, remember that thing from Star Trek, and bringing things back.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
like when there's new things with the occasional old thing mixed in.
Sprinkled in.
Right.
This is also going to
Lightly.
sound weird, but I know from reading actors over the years, including everybody from the OS to DS9, and I've read a lot and listened to a lot of interviews with this cast. They love the gimmick episodes. Why?
Mhm.
Because Christina Chong loves to dance,
Mhm.
and Ethan Peck loves to not have to be Spock. But sometimes I'm kind of like, guys, but that's not the show that I want to see. Because for actors, it's fun to get out of the character and be goofy and play fantasy and laugh and sing. But I enjoyed them being a landing party today, and analyzing and discussing the danger. That's what I want to see more of.
Yeah, I was just listening to the Delta Flyers episode talking about the Deep Space Nine episode Homefront, and Robbie McNeil was making a similar criticism of Deep Space Nine because Miles and Julian come out of the holodeck and they're in costume, they're doing
Yes.
English accents, and he
Yeah.
said that takes him out of it because that's them being actors. Obviously,
interesting.
Colm Meaney is a fantastic actor. He can
Right.
do an old English accent.
Mhm.
Alexander Siddig is a great actor. He can do an English accent. And they can play these characters. But like Miles O'Brien isn't an actor. He's an engineer. He shouldn't be able to
Interesting.
easily get into character and do an accent and play a role like that. He's an everyman, right? He's not a great actor
Interesting.
like Colm Meaney is. And he said that takes him out of it when they do that on Star Trek episodes. And in fact, I almost said Harry Kim, but Garrett Wong commented that he had wanted to do an Irish accent in Fairhaven, and they had told him no.
Yeah, because he
And-
does impressions a lot.
Right, and Robbie said that no, he thinks that was the right decision not to do it because Harry Kim shouldn't be able to do an Irish accent. Harry Kim is not an actor, and it's this
You
criticism
don't
that
have
I've
to be
seen.
an actor to be able to do an accent, though.
Okay, no, you don't necessarily, but
No.
not everyone can. And
Well, what I agree with Robert Duncan McNeil on, I felt this way my entire life, and it's not Star Trek. Let's say, take somebody like the great singer Patti LaBelle. I remember when she first started acting, she would show up on the show, and no offense against her, she wasn't the best actress. But then they always contrived to have her sing, like on the Jamie Foxx show.
right.
And then not only was she a ridiculously phenomenal singer, but she also didn't feel like she was acting. She felt more natural. That takes me out of the show. So I get what Robbie Duncan McNeil is saying, but I never had that problem with Julian and Miles. I'm not going to spoil this for Elaine, but Charles and Veronica, you know what I'm talking about. There is an episode of DS9 coming up where they just survive a horrific battle. And then literally O'Brien and Bashir says, I'll meet you on the holodeck. And they do something like the Battle of the Alamo in 20 minutes. And I'm like, what the hell? There are people dead that just came out of a war and they ran to the holodeck to go play the Battle of the Alamo. That made no sense, but interesting comment by Robbie.
Yeah, and right or wrong, whether people agree or disagree, I thought it was an interesting comment because
Very
something
good.
that I've
Very
noticed on Strange New Worlds is they do what TNG did, which is this week the Doctor can dance because Gates McFadden can dance. This
Yeah,
week
it's a little too much.
they're all staging a play because they're actors and they want to, you know what I mean? Like they lean into what the actors want to do and are able to do.
Yes.
Whether it
Yes.
makes sense for that character to be able to do that or not. And not
Yeah.
to say a doctor can't dance, but
Right.
it does sometimes take you out of it.
Absolutely.
All right. So Michael Phillips says, I like this episode, but so far nothing has completely blown me away. It's been solid, but not quite top notch.
I agree, but I'll take solid any day. And it was solid. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Solid Star Trek episodes are top tier.
Yeah.
Above average. Bill Lamont says, I know I would love the gimmick episodes. I need to find out how to watch and how to watch with friends. Well, you can subscribe to Paramount Plus is the easiest way to watch. Also, there are a lot of episodes on the Star Trek YouTube channel, including the latest gimmick episode, which is entitled A Space Adventure Hour, is available for free. At least it was last time I checked. And also, I believe the entirety of season 1 is still available for free on YouTube, Bill. So if you want to watch any Strange New Worlds,
Great.
check out the free options. But also, you can oftentimes get like a month of Paramount Plus for $5 or whatever, and then just binge the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So final verdict.
Good
Excellent.
episode.
Good
Yeah.
episode. Yeah, really good episode. Kept me guessing, and I enjoyed that and appreciated that.
Okay. Well, Keith, where can people find more of you?
You can find me on Facebook, primarily the ESO Network Facebook groups.
And how about us, Veronica?
feltnerdy.com.
That's right. And for the next several weeks, we'll be getting for Dragon Con. So if you're going to be at Dragon Con, look up Felt Nerdy because you can search for us. We tend to put our name in all of the things we're doing, so we're easy to find. But look us up. We're doing 4 of our own shows. We're also appearing in some other things. So
Yes.
I know I counted them myself.
I was
And-
thinking 5, but I was counting the Puppet Slam.
I know. So look for us at Dragon Con. You can find us across social media at Felt Nerdy or at Felt Nerdy and Dirty on your favorite podcast no, not on your favorite podcast platform. I'm not there yet. Where else can people find us?
Monkeying around, a podcast about the monkeys.
Which you can find on your favorite podcast platform. All right. Join us Thursdays. We go live on Thursday evenings talking about the latest Star Trek episode, or when there's no new Star Trek, we'll talk about a legacy Star Trek topic. And then we go out after the fact on your favorite podcast platform. Veronica, do you have a closing for us this week?
Captain, I think you're going to meet a bigger landing crew.
It's a landing party, but you were so close.
I
You were
was so close. I was so
You butchered the quote, but you had a quote in your mind, which is the first step.
Only took 4 years.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will see you next Thursday evening, and live long and prosper.
Take care.